Hello and welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to show you a secret method to export out Attio's enriched attributes so that you can import them into your enrichment software or your reporting software that is outside of Attio. So out of the box, Attio doesn't actually allow you to export these system enriched attributes natively. So we've got LinkedIn here, primary location. We can actually view a full list of the enriched attributes in settings, objects, attributes, and have a look at them here. By default, when we try to export these, if I click export view CSV, it's not actually going to display the columns. So once it collects the data and the downloads here, we can open this up and we can see it's displaying the record ID and the record, but LinkedIn and location are blank. Now, fair enough to Attio, they want to not make this easily accessible because these system enriched attributes are part of Attio's unique capabilities, IP, but it's useful to have, right? If we're using the CRM, we should have access to the data in our CRM. So let's actually return back to Attio. And what we're going to do is firstly isolate the attributes that we would like to export. So in this case, I'm going to stick with LinkedIn and country. I may also turn on last interaction, and let's actually turn on when the last interaction was. Okay, we're using demo data, so there was no interaction. Let's forget that. Okay, create a new view on the object that you would like to export your data on. So in this case, I'm going to say export, and we're going to turn on LinkedIn, and we're going to turn on location, country. Okay, so once we've done this, we now need to create two new attributes which are going to mirror both of these system attributes. So we're going to choose add column, create new attribute. I'm going to choose a text type, and I'm going to say LinkedIn brackets for export. And this may only be a temporary attribute. We may delete it after we're finished, or we could leave it in here for future use. I'm then going to create a second column saying location, country, brackets, export. We're going to click create attribute. Awesome, so we somehow need to get this information into these two columns. It turns out that's pretty easy to do, okay? We can either select just one column and highlight over all of the cells and then hit Command and C or Control and C, and then hover over and select the corresponding cells that you would like to paste into, hitting Command and V or Control and V. And we could replicate this for all of the different cells that we would like to repeat this on. I think we can also actually multi-select cells, so I could select two columns here, and then I could drag and make sure that I've hit the correct cells and then hit Command and V, and this does work, okay? For an acute or low number of records, this will indeed work, and you can just simply do this for all of the records here. However, if you start dealing with larger data sets, you have, 5,000, 10,000 records, this is likely not going to cut it. When you highlight all of these cells and you paste them into the new location, chances are if you select too many, Attio will time out and just error. So we don't want to be doing that. There is an approach where you could set filter to, and then you could say, let's only see those records where LinkedIn for export is empty. And then, we could take the LinkedIn here, we could Command and C, Command and V, and then these will eventually disappear. So we could basically just inbox zero out this by copying and pasting via this filter. But again, not very scalable, might be an option if you have only a few records. But for now, we're going to delete this filter, and we're actually going to create a workflow that will allow us to move this information automatically. So of course, it will use Attio's workflow credits. Chances are you have 10,000 per month, depending on your plan. And overall, Attio's workflow credits are incredibly generous and quite good value for money. So let's go ahead and save this, jump over to workflows, then click new workflow. Now, I'm going to do this just workflow by workflow for each column. You could build some logic to migrate over and update both records, both columns within one workflow. But for now, let's just build a simple one-step workflow to move over LinkedIn to the new text type. So On the trigger, we're going to choose record command. This just means that we will run the workflow once we've selected the record. We will then click on object and choose the object that we're trying to export the information from. In this case, it's people. We're then going to click on the next step and we're going to say update record, and then on the input, select people again. From here, we want to choose use variable to indicate we're updating the record that we selected. And then on attributes to update, we're going to choose LinkedIn for export. So we're going to choose LinkedIn for export right there. And the attribute to update, I don't know why that's superior. Oh, sorry, my brain's dead. Okay, so we've chosen this attribute to update. If we chose these two, it will give us like 3 more options. So for now, we can just unselect those. Now, inside of LinkedIn for export, whatever we put in here will be updated on the record that we run the workflow on. So if I just put hello world and I click publish workflow, you can see that if I jump over to the people object, clicking into our view, selecting this record, run workflow, it's just going to simply update this cell with hello world. But instead, we're actually going to use the variables feature inside of the workflow builder. So instead, we're going to clear out hello world. We're going to choose insert variable, record, scroll down to LinkedIn because we're using the LinkedIn for export cell, and simply click publish changes. We're going to confirm on that, and I'm sure you will see where I'm going with this. If I jump back to the people object, click into our export view, hover over all of the values that we would like to export, all of the records that we want to export. We're going to choose run workflow, update LinkedIn profile when a person record is triggered. Fantastic, so we can see all of these records are populating with the LinkedIn column if they exist. If there's no LinkedIn, it'll just be an empty cell. So let's wait for this workflow to finish running and then we'll go ahead and begin our export process. If at any point you want to actually pause the workflow and you're like, oh my God, this is going to consume all my credits, you can jump over to the workflows, clicking into the workflow and just toggling off the workflow so it stops running. We'll see all of the completed runs here along with all of the failed runs. Okay, we're ready for export finally. So I'm going to say LinkedIn export is not empty. Fantastic. It does look like it's populated the empty LinkedIn columns anyway with just an empty value, but that's okay. So let's just run with this for now. Let's simply duplicate this workflow and do the same for our country column that we are trying to export. So we've duplicated the workflow. It will have the object assigned already. We simply need to select update record, attributes to update, and we can go ahead and choose location country for export. We can then simply insert variable, record, and country. Now, you will have noticed, of course, that you could have done them both at the same time by updating both records. So on this update record step, we could have said location country, we're going to update that, and LinkedIn, we're going to update that. And then you could have chosen LinkedIn here with insert variable LinkedIn. But this is perfectly valid and can work. I personally prefer just updating one attribute at a time. It allows us to reuse these workflows for different cases, right? We might not always need to export the LinkedIn profile. We might not always need to export the country. So I personally like splitting them up, but you can do as you wish. So for now, I'm going to turn off LinkedIn export. Oh wow, so I mistakenly updated the record with the empty cell. So let's jump back into the editor, change this to update this to the correct location. So I guess that's a shout out. Make sure you don't do the same. Let's click on the actual cell that we want to copy. Just changes, jump back to people into our export view. And let's run this one more time. So we will see this location country export begin to populate. There we go. We can see the countries are starting to appear. Awesome. So let's pause the video and wait for this workflow to stop running, and then I'll show you how we can export this. Okay, so I paused the workflow and we're good to export this. So I'm going to hide the original system attributes as these are not going to be exported anyway. And we finally are left with our record, the LinkedIn and the country. From here, we are almost ready to begin exporting. We just want to make sure that the filters we've applied are correct and that all of our data is showing here that we want to move out of Attio onto another platform. Let's go ahead and select on the Import Export button and then choose Export View as CSV. This is the most flexible type, but you can export as Excel. So we're going to click Export View as CSV. And if we open up this download, we should indeed see that the email addresses, the LinkedIn and the country are all now captured in your export. Okay, I hope that video was useful. If you have any questions, please email me, daniel@atx.ai. And if you liked the video, consider subscribing. I'll see you in the next video.